The massive hall stretched farther than eyes could see. Walls made of black shining stone rose high into darkness above. Hundreds of alien beings filled the seats that climbed up the walls like stairs. Some looked like floating crystals. Others glowed with inner light. Some had many arms. Others had no body at all. Commander Taeyang stood in the middle of it all. His white spacesuit looked old and worn next to the shimmering energy fields and glowing bodies around him. He felt like a child at a meeting of gods. Behind him stood 6 other humans, all looking just as out of place. The leader of the aliens spoke. His name was Vexthor, and he looked like a giant insect with sharp claws. When he talked, a computer voice translated his words into something Taeyang could understand. The tone was clear. Vexthor was not impressed. "This is what you bring us?" Vexthor asked. Giant screens appeared in the air, showing pictures of Earth's spaceship. It looked rough and simple. You could see where metal plates were welded together. There were actual bolts and rivets holding parts of the ship. "You want to join the Galactic Coalition, and this is your best ship?" Taeyang kept his face calm. "The ship is called Indomitable. It represents the best work of human engineers. She may look simple, but..." Laughter filled the hall. It came from everywhere. The crystal beings made sounds like breaking glass. Even the quiet species started making noise. Everyone was laughing at Earth's ship. "Bolts," shouted one alien with 3 upper arms. "They connect metal with metal using bolts. Look at the power reading. It barely reaches Class 2 level. Our mining machines have better engines than this." Taeyang looked at Jiwon, who stood next to him. She was the chief engineer. Her face was tight with anger, but she stayed quiet. All 7 humans stood still and said nothing while the aliens laughed. "The ship uses technology that works," Taeyang said carefully. "We use chemical rockets for launch, nuclear engines for travel between planets, fusion power for faster-than-light travel. We believe in systems that work reliably over progress, over improvement." Vexthor leaned forward. "Your ship cannot even make a proper shield. You protect it with thick metal armor. Your weapons are just machines that throw chunks of metal. Tell me, Commander, how many times can your ship shoot before it runs out of bullets?" More laughter. Taeyang felt his training fight against his instincts. He wanted to defend his people, but he had to stay diplomatic. "The Indomitable carries enough ammunition for long missions. Our railguns can..." "Railguns!" Another alien laughed. "Magnetic guns that throw pieces of metal. We stopped using such primitive weapons 3,000 years ago. Where are your energy beams? Your particle weapons? Your reality-breaking guns? You come here with technology our ancestors would laugh at." Jiwon whispered to Taeyang. "Sir, can I speak?" "No," he whispered back. "This is about surviving, not about pride." Vexithor raised one claw for silence. "However, we are not cruel. The Coalition understands that some species develop slowly. Earth will receive provisional status. Category 4 membership. You may trade with approved sellers. You can receive technology help under our watch. You can observe our meetings. But understand this clearly. You are children playing with fire. Your primitive ship is just a curiosity. You have no place among warrior species in Category 4. Taeyang kept his voice level, but his eyes went hard. "That is one step above being quarantined. Be grateful we offer even that much. The other option is complete isolation. 300 years until we review you again." Vexthor made clicking sounds with his mouth parts. "Perhaps by then you will have moved past throwing metal and using thick armor plates. You are dismissed." The human group left the chamber. As they walked out, Taeyang saw the screen still floating in the air. The Indomitable hung in space next to one of the alien cruisers. The difference was huge. The alien ship was half the size but gave off 10 times more power. Its hull was smooth and perfect, covered with active shields. The human ship looked like a submarine someone had built in their garage. In the hallway outside, Jiwon finally spoke. "Sir, they are making a mistake." "Maybe," Taeyang said quietly. "Or maybe they are right, and we do not belong here." Captain Hyunwoo met them at the shuttle landing area. He commanded the Indomitable. His face looked tired and serious. "That bad?" "Worse," Taeyang said. "They laughed at us, called our ship a joke, called our weapons primitive, called our engineering barbaric." Hyunwoo's face did not change. "Well, we will see who laughs when trouble comes. I have been listening to Coalition communications. There is trouble in the outer regions, something their fancy ships with energy shields and particle beams cannot handle." "What kind of trouble?" Jiwon asked. Hyunwoo smiled, but there was no humor in it. the kind that might need a primitive, barbaric solution. The shuttle carried them back to their ship. As they flew through space, Tae-Yang looked out the window at the alien vessels around them. They were beautiful, advanced, powerful, everything humanity was not. But beauty and advancement had their limits. Tae-Yang had learned that lesson in his years of military service. Sometimes the simple solution was the right solution. Sometimes the old ways worked better than the new ways. He just hoped they would get a chance to prove it. The Indomitable grew larger in the window. Rough, ugly, primitive. But she was theirs. Built by human hands using human knowledge. Every weld, every bolt, every rivet represented someone who believed humanity belonged in space. Category 4 status. It was an insult. But it was also an opportunity. They were in. They had a foot in the door, and once inside, humanity had a habit of proving doubters wrong. How long until we can leave? Tae-Yang asked. We are waiting for departure clearance, Hyunwoo replied. Should be any day now. Unless something happens to delay us, something did happen. 3 weeks later, it would change everything. The aliens who had laughed at humanity's primitive ship would stop laughing. They would beg for help, and the Indomitable would show them what barbaric engineering could really do. But for now, the humans did not know that. For now, they just felt the sting of rejection and mockery. They returned to their ship, climbed aboard, and waited for permission to go home. The galaxy had judged them and found them wanting. Soon, very soon, the galaxy would learn it had judged wrong. 3 weeks had passed since the humiliation at the Grand Assembly. The Indomitable floated in high orbit above the alien homeworld, waiting for clearance to leave. Below, the planet looked like a perfect jewel. Floating cities sat on artificial oceans. Giant rings spun around the equator. Defense systems surrounded everything, strong enough to survive a star explosion. Captain Hyunwoo stood on the bridge of his ship. Around him were his senior officers. Ji-won handled engineering. Lieutenant Da-yoon controlled weapons. Navigator Bora managed the helm. Dr. Min-seo reviewed medical supplies. They all stared at red warning symbols flashing on their screens. Say that again? Hyunwoo looked at the alien face on the communication screen. You are being drafted, Captain, the alien said. He looked nervous. Emergency rules. All ships in the system must respond to the attack. Attack? Ji-won pulled up more information. Her eyes went wide. Captain, I am reading 17 enemy warships. They just appeared at the edge of the system. The Krillian Empire, the Coalition's ancient enemy. Their war had lasted 1,000 years before a peace treaty stopped it. That treaty apparently meant nothing now. Hyunwoo knew about Krillian ships from his briefings. They were grown like living things, not built like machines. They resisted energy weapons and could heal damage. They were the nightmare the Coalition had feared for generations. With respect, Hyunwoo said to the screen, we are a primitive ship with barbaric weapons. Surely your mighty fleet can... Our fleet is fighting now. The alien officer looked scared. But the Krillians have changed. Their living ships absorb our energy attacks. Our particle beams pass through their healing hulls. Our disruption fields cannot work on their living tissue. You need weapons that throw metal, Ji-won said quietly. Silence filled the bridge. Then Da-eun started laughing. The sound was harsh and bitter. They mocked our railguns, called them primitive chunks of metal, and now they need us. Captain, the alien officer said stiffly, will you help defend our world? Hyunwoo looked at his crew. He saw anger on their faces. He saw vindication. But he also saw duty. The politicians could play games, but his people were military. Civilians were about to die. We need command authority, he said. No oversight. No second guessing. My ship, my rules. The alien made rapid clicking sounds. Stress or anger, Hyunwoo could not tell. Granted. Sending fleet information now. The tactical screen filled with data. 60 Coalition warships formed a protective sphere around the planet. Against them, 17 Krillian ships looked like killer whales hunting fish. Already 3 alien cruisers were gone. Their shields had collapsed. Their hulls dissolved by bioacid weapons. Bora, plot an intercept course. Maximum speed. Hyunwoo sat down in his command chair. Da-eun, start all railgun batteries. Load tungsten rounds, not explosive ones. Ji-won, I need everything you can give me. Power to engines, power to weapons. Take it from life support if you must. Captain, Min-seo said nervously. Those enemy ships are each 3 times our size. Our armor is good, but we are about to prove something, Hyunwoo interrupted. That primitive methods have their place in the modern galaxy. All hands battle stations. This is real. Engage faster than light drive. The Indomitable lurched forward. Her fusion drive created a signature that looked weak compared to the quantum engines of the coalition ships, but she accelerated hard, pulling forces that would kill the more delicate alien species. They dropped into normal space 500 kilometers from the nearest Krillian ship. Up close it was terrifying. A living vessel 3 kilometers long, covered in pulsing organic armor. Bioweapons oozed and dripped in the vacuum of space. It had just destroyed a crystal ship, shattering it like glass with bioacid spray. Target locked, Doan reported. All railguns ready. Fire. The Indomitable shuddered as magnetic guns along her spine threw tungsten rounds at incredible speed. No pretty energy beams. No elegant particle streams. Just dense metal moving fast enough to punch through planets. The first shot hit the Krillian ship in the middle. The organic armor that had ignored particle beams and absorbed disruption fields simply ceased to exist. Kinetic energy had no frequency to adapt to, no harmonics to cancel. It was pure brutal physics. Mass times speed squared. The enemy ship split in half. Its biomatter froze instantly in the vacuum, unable to heal such massive damage. 1 down, Dawn said, her voice shaking. 16 to go. They are adapting, Bo-Ra warned. 4 enemy ships breaking formation. Coming straight for us. Hyunwoo smiled grimly. Good. The coalition ships can handle the others while they focus on us. Bo-Ra, evasive pattern delta. Dayan, continuous fire. Show them what happens when you bring biology to a physics fight. The primitive, barbaric human ship began to dance through space. Her railguns hammered out a rhythm of destruction. The battle raged. The Indomitable spun and twisted, dodging attacks. Her chemical thrusters fired in patterns the aliens had forgotten. Behind the ship, spent railgun rounds traced lines through space. Each round that hit destroyed its target. The coalition fleet watched in amazement. The crude human ship was doing what their advanced vessels could not. It was killing the enemy. Bioacid splashed against the Indomitable's thick armor. The outer plates melted, but there were more plates underneath. Redundant systems. Backup protection. Everything the aliens had mocked now kept the ship alive. Hull breach in sections 7 through 9. Jiwon called out. Sealing compartments. The acid got through the outer armor. Captain, our backup plating is saving us, but if they concentrate fire, they will not get the chance. Another impact shook the ship. Daeon, focus all guns on that lead ship. Bo-Ra, bring us about for a full broadside. The Indomitable turned. All her railguns fired at once. The nearest Krillian ship simply exploded under the barrage. Pieces of organic matter scattered into space. 2 more down, Da-Yun reported. We have used 40% of our ammunition. At this rate, we do our job, Hyunwoo said firmly. Keep firing. The coalition ships regrouped. With the Krillians focused on the human vessel, they could attack from range. Energy weapons might not kill the enemy ships, but they could distract and damage. The elegant quantum drive vessels did what they did best. They danced at long range, hitting weak points, coordinating perfectly. But it was the primitive human ship that delivered the killing blows. Again and again, railgun rounds tore through Krillian armor. Again and again, enemy ships broke apart under the assault. The beings who had laughed at humanity's technology now watched in silence. The joke was no longer funny. The primitive methods were winning. On the bridge of the Indomitable, Hyunwoo allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. They had proven their worth. They had shown the galaxy that simple solutions sometimes worked best. But the battle was not over. More enemy ships remained, and somewhere out there, hidden among them, was their flagship. The biggest threat of all, the real test was still to come. I am reading a massive power signature, Da-Eun said, staring at her screen. Captain, one of those ships is 3 times larger than the others. It is an Emperor-class flagship. The display shifted to show the new threat. The Emperor-class ship was a nightmare made real. 10 kilometers of living warship, covered in armor that pulsed with glowing patterns. As they watched, it released a wave of organic matter that consumed an entire squadron of small fighters. The ships vanished in seconds, their hulls dissolved. Coalition Command is pulling back, Bo-Ra reported. They are retreating behind the orbital defense platforms. Of course they are. Hyunwoo said quietly. Cannot risk their advanced ships against something that can actually hurt them. What about us? We received no retreat order, sir. Hyunwoo studied the Emperor-class ship on his screen. The massive vessel moved toward the planet like a glacier. Slow, unstoppable. If it reached orbit, it could seed the entire world with bioweapons. Billions would die. The coalition capital would fall. And Earth? Earth would be next on the list. 14 crew members were already injured. 2 were critical. The bioacid that had gotten through their armor was eating through containment. Medical teams worked frantically to stop it. G1, Hyunwoo said quietly. How much power can you give me? For what purpose, sir? A maximum velocity ramming attack. Nobody spoke. Then G1's voice came back steady and calm. If I strip everything, life support, weapons, shields, and dump all reactor fuel into the fusion drive, I can give you 85% light speed. But Captain, at that speed, if we hit, the Indomitable will be destroyed. I know. Hyunwoo looked at his crew. I am not ordering this. I am asking. We have 300 people on this ship. I will not throw away their lives if there is another option. Daeun spoke first. Sir, with respect, there is no other option. That thing will reach the planet in 6 hours. Nothing the Coalition has can stop it. But we can, Bora added. A 50,000-ton ship at 85% light speed. That is more energy than anything short of a star explosion. We did not come out here to run, Minseo said quietly but firmly. And we did not build this ship to look pretty. We built it to fight. G1's voice came through the speakers. Captain, engineering volunteers. Every single one. They say if we are going to hit something, they want to be in the engine room making sure we hit it as hard as possible. Hyunwoo felt his chest tighten. Pride and grief, both at once. All hands, this is the captain. Prepare for emergency evacuation. All non-essential personnel to escape pods. You have 20 minutes. Sir, Bora said, the pods cannot hold everyone. There are only enough for now 150 people. I know. Essential crew stays. The rest go. That is an order. The next 20 minutes were chaos. Crew members argued. Some refused to leave. Others boarded pods with tears in their eyes. Commander Taeyang, still aboard from the diplomatic mission, tried to order Hyunwoo to evacuate. The captain refused. In the end, 150 people left in escape pods. Coalition rescue ships scooped them up immediately. 150 people stayed behind. They had made their choice. Bora, plot the intercept. Ji-won, give me everything. Daeun, fire every remaining railgun as we approach. I want to damage that thing before we hit. Yes, sir. The Indomitable turned toward the massive bioship. Her fusion drive blazed like a newborn star. She accelerated beyond any safe limit. Hull plates began to glow from friction with space particles. Systems overloaded and died, but still she accelerated. Her railguns fired continuously. Each shot tore into the Emperor-class ship, creating wounds in its organic armor. The enemy vessel tried to turn, tried to bring its weapons to bear. Too slow, far too slow. On the bridge, the crew worked in silence. Each person focused on their duty. There was no panic, no fear. They knew what was coming. They had accepted it. Bora adjusted course by fractions of degrees. Dyson fired the guns until they ran dry. Minseo made sure the wounded were comfortable. Ji-won pushed the engines beyond their design limits, and Hyunwoo sat in his chair watching the enemy ship grow larger on his view screen. He thought of his family back on Earth. His wife. His 2 daughters. They would receive notification of his death. They would cry. They would grieve. But they would also know he had died doing his duty, protecting innocent lives. He thought of the aliens who had laughed at his ship, who had called it primitive and barbaric. They would remember the Indomitable now. They would never forget what this crude vessel had done. He thought of Earth. Small, weak, primitive by galactic standards, but never beaten, never broken. Humanity would survive. They always did. 30 seconds to impact, Bora said calmly. The Emperor-class ship filled the entire view screen now. Hyunwoo could see individual pulsing organs through damaged sections of armor. He could see bioweapons tracking the Indomitable, preparing to fire. It did not matter. Nothing mattered except the simple mathematics of kinetic energy. 20 seconds. Hyunwoo keyed the ship-wide communication. Crew of the Indomitable. It has been an honor serving with you. Tell them we were here. Tell them we mattered. 10 seconds. Daeun reached over and took Bora's hand. Minseo closed his eyes and whispered a prayer. Ji-won, down in engineering, hugged each member of her team. 5 seconds. Hyunwoo smiled. For Earth, the last thing he saw was organic armor rushing toward him. Then light, pure brilliant light. The Indomitable struck the Emperor-class ship at 85% the speed of light. 50,000 tons of human engineering, traveling at relativistic speed, carrying all the kinetic energy of a nuclear bomb. The explosion was visible from the planet's surface. A new star that burned for 17 seconds. When it faded, nothing remained of either ship. Just a sphere of superheated plasma, cooling slowly in the vacuum. The remaining Krillian ships hesitated. Their flagship was gone, destroyed by a primitive vessel they had ignored, destroyed by barbaric methods they had underestimated. The coalition fleet pressed their advantage. Without the Emperor class to coordinate them, the Krillian ships broke formation. One by one, they retreated into hyperspace. The battle was over. The planet was saved. Billions of lives spared, all because one crude, primitive, barbaric ship had done what elegant technology could not. In the escape pods, the survivors watched the explosion fade. They had witnessed something that would be told and retold for generations. The death of the Indomitable, the birth of a legend. Commander Tae-yang floated in his pod, tears streaming down his face. He had known Hyunwoo for 20 years, had served with him, had trusted him with his life. Now Hyunwoo was gone. Along with 149 others, heroes, all of them. The galaxy had mocked them, called their ship a joke, called their weapons primitive, called their methods barbaric. The galaxy would never make that mistake again. The Grand Assembly Hall was silent. The same seats that had echoed with mocking laughter 3 weeks ago now held beings struck speechless. Giant screens showed the debris field where the Emperor-class ship had been. A sphere of cooling plasma 40 kilometers wide. Nothing remained of the Indomitable either. Commander Tae-yang stood in the center of the hall again. His spacesuit was scorched from the emergency landing. His face was exhausted from 3 days without sleep. Behind him, the 150 survivors stood at attention in their dress uniforms. High Chancellor Vexthor finally spoke. Commander Tae-yang, on behalf of the Veltharian Empire and the Galactic Coalition, I offer our gratitude. Your crew's sacrifice saved billions of lives. With respect, High Chancellor, Tae-yang's voice was cold as ice. Do not call it a sacrifice. Call it what it was. A primitive, barbaric solution to a problem your advanced technology could not solve. Whispers rippled through the assembly. Vexthor made clicking sounds, but not in amusement this time. It sounded like shame. You mocked us, Tae-yang continued. Called our ship a joke. Our weapons laughable. Our engineering backward. And when your elegant energy shields and particle beams failed, when your quantum drives and reality-bending weapons proved useless, it was our jokes and our barbarism that saved you. Ji-won stepped forward. Permission to speak, Commander? Granted. She faced the assembly. I have spent 3 days reviewing your technology. Your ships are marvels. Faster, more efficient, more elegant than anything we could build. But they are also fragile. You have optimized for peacetime, for exploration and trade. You forgot that sometimes war is not about elegance. It is about who can hit harder and take more punishment. Dayun spoke next. Your energy weapons are sophisticated. Ours are simple. You manipulate exotic particles and quantum fields. We throw chunks of metal. But our simplicity is our strength. There is nothing to adapt to. No frequency to adjust. No harmonics to cancel. Just physics. One of the alien ambassadors rose, her multiple arms trembling. Are you suggesting that primitive technology is superior? No, Tae-yang said flatly. I am suggesting that different technologies serve different purposes. Your ships are perfect for the galaxy you built. Peaceful, prosperous, connected. Ours were built for the universe as it actually is. Dangerous, unpredictable, hostile. A crystal being chimed. Its voice translated with unusual humility. Then perhaps we have been wrong. In our pursuit of advancement, we abandoned the fundamentals. The Krillians will return, Tae-yang said. Not today, maybe not this year. But they will return. And when they do, you will face the same problem. Your elegant solutions will not work against an enemy that adapts to them. You need redundancy, backup systems, primitive, barbaric engineering that does not rely on sophisticated technology that can fail. Vexthor was silent for a long moment. Then he asked, what do you propose? A new designation. Not Category 4 membership. Full partnership. Earth does not need your supervision or your technology handouts. What we need is respect. Recognition that our approach to engineering, our philosophy of redundancy and reliability, has value. And in return, another alien asked, "We will build you a fleet," G1 said. "Not elegant ships. Not pretty ones. But ships that can take a hit and keep fighting. Ships with weapons that cannot be adapted to or defended against. Ships built by people who understand that sometimes the best solution is the simplest one." The assembly erupted into discussion. Species that had barely noticed humanity 3 weeks ago now argued passionately. Kinetic weapons versus energy beams. Redundant systems versus optimized efficiency. Armor plating versus energy shields. Finally, Vexthor called for silence. The Veltharian Empire proposes a motion. Earth will be granted full Category 1 membership in the Galactic Coalition, with all rights and privileges. Furthermore, humanity will establish a joint engineering program with coalition species to develop hybrid ship designs. Those in favor? The vote was unanimous. As the session ended, Vexthor approached Taeyang personally. They stood together in the vast hall, suddenly seeming very small under the artificial stars. "I owe you an apology," Vexthor said quietly. "We were arrogant. We assumed that advancement was a straight line, that our path was the only path. Your Captain Hyunwoo and his crew taught us otherwise. They taught us that sometimes the old ways have merit, that progress is not always about moving forward but about remembering what worked." Taeyang nodded slowly. "They were good people. They deserved better than to be laughed at. They will be remembered. I give you my word. See that they are." Taeyang turned to leave, then stopped. "And High Chancellor? The name of their ship was Indomitable. Make sure that is in the records. Not just the human vessel or the primitive craft, indomitable, because that is what they were. It will be done." Over the next weeks, things changed rapidly. Coalition engineers arrived on Earth, eager to learn human construction methods. Human engineers traveled to alien worlds, studying advanced sensor systems and faster-than-light drives. A new partnership formed. Not master and student, not teacher and pupil. Equals learning from each other. The first hybrid designs appeared within months. Veltharian cruisers equipped with human armor plating. Crystal ships reinforced with redundant structural supports. Even the smallest coalition vessels received railgun batteries. The galaxy learned its lesson. Advancement was not a single path. Technology was not a ladder with one direction. Different approaches had different strengths. Elegance had its place. So did brutality. And always, in every design discussion, every engineering meeting, every strategic planning session, one question was asked. What would the Indomitable do? The answer guided them. Keep it simple. Make it reliable. Build in redundancy. Plan for the worst. Hope for the best. Ji-won led the engineering programs. She traveled constantly, teaching human methods to alien engineers, learning alien techniques in return. She never forgot Captain Hyunwoo. Never forgot the crew who had stayed behind. Dayun trained coalition weapons officers in kinetic combat. She showed them how to aim railguns, how to calculate trajectories, how to predict target movements without computer assistance. The old skills. The fundamental skills Bora taught navigation using chemical thrusters and reaction mass. Not because it was better than quantum drives, but because sometimes the advanced systems failed. And when they did, you needed to know the basics. Minesio established medical protocols for treating bioweapon injuries. The Coalition had never faced such weapons before. Now they would be ready. And Taeyang became Earth's permanent ambassador. He spoke for humanity in the Grand Assembly. He negotiated treaties. He built alliances. But mostly he ensured that the sacrifice of the Indomitable was never forgotten. Every year on the anniversary of the battle, a ceremony was held. Representatives from every coalition species attended. They stood in silence, remembering the ship that had changed everything. A monument was erected in orbit above the alien homeworld. A section of hull plating recovered from the debris field, scorched, pitted, showing the rivets and welds that had once been mocked. The plaque beneath it read simple words: UEDS, indomitable, primitive, barbaric, victorious. The galaxy had learned a hard lesson. It would not forget, could not forget, because somewhere out there the Krillians were regrouping, adapting, planning their return, and when they came back, they would find a galaxy that had changed. A galaxy that remembered the value of simple solutions, A galaxy ready to fight. A galaxy that would never again mock the primitive and the barbaric. Because sometimes the old ways were the best ways. And humanity had taught them that. 5 years had passed since the Battle of Velthera Prime. The orbital shipyards above Earth had grown from a single small station to a massive complex stretching 200 kilometers across space. Construction bays filled with ships of every kind. Sleek alien cruisers with human armor plating. Large carriers equipped with railgun batteries. Even crystal ships reinforced with backup structural supports. Admiral Jiwan, promoted after the battle, stood in the command center of Orbital Station Indomitable. Captain Bora stood beside her with a datapad reviewing reports. Status report? Jiwan asked. The first squadron of hybrid ships is ahead of schedule. The Veltharians have adapted well to our engineering principles. They have even started requesting redundant power systems in their own designs. Bora smiled. Ambassador Kolmara visited yesterday. She wanted to see the new mass drivers in action. The same ambassador who called our weapons barbaric? Yes. She ordered 12 battleships equipped with our kinetic weapons. She said there is elegance and simplicity we failed to appreciate, Jiwan laughed. Took them long enough. A communication alert interrupted them. Dayun's face appeared on the screen. Admiral, we have a situation. Long-range sensors are detecting multiple hyperspace signatures at the edge of the system. It is a Krillian fleet, 43 ships including 2 Emperor class. The command center fell silent. Staff officers froze at their stations. 5 years of preparation, 5 years of building and training. Now they would learn if it had been enough. Sound General Quarters, G1 said calmly. All ships to battle stations. Activate the defense grid, and get me Ambassador Tae Yang. Tae Yang appeared on screen within seconds. I am seeing the reports. They came back. They came back, G1 confirmed. But we are ready this time. Ambassador requesting permission to deploy the new fleet. Permission granted. Admiral, you are cleared for combat operations. Show them what we built. G1 turned to Bora. Launch all squadrons. Formation Indomitable 7. The new fleet deployed in a cascade of launch signatures. At its core were the hybrid vessels. Ships that combined coalition speed and sensors with human weapons and armor. Around them were pure human designs. The Indomitable-class heavy cruisers. 50,000 tons of armored fury. Each one a tribute to the ship that had saved the alien homeworld. The real surprise was the Veltharian contingent. The elegant aliens who had once mocked primitive engineering now flew ships bristling with railguns and missile pods. Their vessels retained the grace of original designs, but added the brutal practicality of human warfare. The Krillian fleet advanced. They were confident. They had defeated the coalition before. They expected the same result. They were wrong. The hybrid fleet opened fire at maximum range. Railgun rounds crossed the void at incredible speeds. Missile swarms accelerated on chemical rockets that the Krillians could not jam. Behind the kinetic barrage came energy weapons. Particle beams and disruptors that exploited wounds torn by solid matter. The first Krillian ship died without firing a shot. Its bioarmor shattered under concentrated railgun fire. The second tried to heal, only to be vaporized by a Veltharian particle beam that found vulnerable interior through the kinetic damage. They are adapting faster this time, Dayun warned. The bioarmor is already showing resistance to our tungsten rounds. Switch to depleted uranium rounds, G1 ordered. Show them what redundancy means. We have 5 different types of ammunition. They cannot adapt to all of them at once. The battle raged for 6 hours. It was brutal, grinding warfare. The kind that elegant coalition fleets had avoided for centuries. Ships died on both sides. But the difference was that coalition ships now knew how to trade blows. Their armor absorbed hits that would have destroyed old vessels. Their redundant systems kept them fighting when single points of failure would have meant death. The Krillians could not adapt fast enough. Every time their bioarmor evolved resistance to one weapon type, the humans switched to another. Tungsten gave way to depleted uranium. That gave way to ceramic composite rounds. Then experimental matter disruption projectiles. When the last Krillian ship retreated into hyperspace, its armor smoking and regeneration systems overwhelmed, G1 allowed herself a moment of satisfaction. Casualty report, she said quietly. Bora checked her datapad. 7 ships lost, 14 heavily damaged, 2,300 casualties, both human and alien. But Admiral, we won decisively. The Krillians lost 39 ships. They limped away with 4. On the main screen, High Chancellor Vexthor appeared. Admiral G1. On behalf of the Coalition, I thank you. Your fleet performed admirably. It is not my fleet, Chancellor. It is our fleet. Human engineering, Coalition technology, combined into something neither of us could have built alone. G1 paused. That is the real lesson of the Indomitable. Not that primitive is better, or that advanced is better, but that different approaches have different strengths. We are stronger together than apart. A lesson we learned at great cost, Vexthor agreed, but one we will not forget. Bora looked at G1. Do you think they will come back? The Krillians? Probably. But that is fine. We will be ready. We will have new ships, new weapons, new strategies. They will have to adapt all over again. G1 smiled. That is the advantage of redundancy, of keeping multiple approaches available. You never run out of options. Outside the command center windows, the hybrid fleet began post-battle assessment. Sleek alien vessels with human weapons, blocky human ships with alien sensors, each one a testament to the marriage of philosophies. The blending of elegant advancement with brutal practicality. Somewhere in the fleet, on a Veltharian cruiser equipped with railguns and redundant armor, an alien crew worked alongside human engineers. They argued about optimal armor thickness, debated chemical versus electromagnetic propulsion, shared meals in the galley afterwards. 5 years ago, they would have laughed at the primitive humans and their barbaric technology. Now they built ships together, fought together, won together. 20 years later, a young Veltharian cadet stood in the museum section of the Grand Assembly Hall. Before her was a section of hull plating, scorched and pitted, recovered from the debris field where the Indomitable had made its final stand. An elderly human stood beside her, white-haired but straight-backed in his admiral's uniform. Tae Yang, now retired but still serving as an advisor. You can see the rivets, the cadet said, amazed. They actually used mechanical fasteners, and yet this ship saved my world. It did, Tae Yang agreed, because the crew understood something the galaxy took too long to learn. Technology is not about sophistication or elegance. It is about results, about doing the job, whatever that takes. We study their tactics now, the cadet said. Human engineering principles are part of our core training. Redundancy, reliability, kinetic weapons, all of it. But I wonder, do humans ever worry that we took too much from you, that we lost our own identity copying your methods? Taeyang smiled. No, because you did not copy us. You integrated our ideas with your own. Your ships are still faster than ours. Your sensors still more sensitive. Your drives still more efficient. You just added our weapons and armor to your designs. That is not copying. That is learning. That is evolution. And the Krillians have not been seen in 15 years. Either they are adapting to counter our weapons, or they decided the galaxy is not worth fighting for. Either way, we will be ready. The cadet reached out toward the hull plating without touching it. I wish I could have met them, the crew of the Indomitable, to thank them. They knew, Taeyang said quietly. Before they made their final run, they knew what they were doing and why. That is all any soldier can ask for. To know their death meant something. They stood in silence, the old admiral and the young cadet, looking at a piece of primitive, barbaric human engineering that had changed the galaxy. I graduate in 3 months, the cadet said. They are assigning me to the new Indomitable II, a hybrid design, human armor and weapons, Veltharian drive and sensors. Then you will carry on their legacy, Taeyang said. Make them proud, I will. I swear it. As she walked away, Taeyang remained at the exhibit. He placed his hand on the hull plating, the only physical connection to the ship and crew that had changed everything. Rest easy, Hyunwoo, he whispered. Your ship may have been primitive, your weapons barbaric, your engineering crude, but you showed them that sometimes the old ways are the best ways, that sophistication is not always superior, that there is strength in simplicity and honor in duty. He smiled, remembering his friend. You showed them that humanity belongs among the stars, not despite our primitive ways, but because of them. Because we remember that before you can reach for the heavens, you must build a foundation that can support the weight. Outside, in the orbital shipyards, construction continued. Human and alien crews working side by side, building vessels that combined the best of both philosophies. Ships that were elegant and brutal, sophisticated and simple, advanced and primitive. Ships that could face whatever threats the galaxy threw at them. Ships that were, in every sense of the word, indomitable.